Hey, good morning, Transit. If we haven't met yet, my name is Heath. They are not booing me, not yet. I just got started. Hey, I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. I am so excited that you're here this morning because today we are launching a brand new series here in Transit called Great Friends. And as I was getting ready to come and talk to you guys today about great friends, I started thinking about the great friends that I have in my life and friends that I've made over the years. But one specific friend came to my mind. And we all have that friend, right? It's the person that you become friends with and you can just tell right away that you're gonna be lifelong friends. You know, it's like Lightning McQueen and Mater, you know, like peanut butter and jelly. Like some people, they just go together and they are just friends and you can just tell they're in it for the long haul. Now, this friend of mine, his name's Chris. He's not here today, so I can say really whatever I want about him and he can't argue with me. Chris and I have been friends for a long time, like longer than most people in this room have been alive. But we met in such a unique and strange way. Because we all know there's seasons of our life, there are times when we are trying to make friends, like we're going out of our way to like, hey, I need a group of friends, I need a group of people to hang out with, I need somebody to sit with at lunch, I need someone to hang out with me on the playground at PE, I need some friends in my life. And there are other times when your friends just kind of happen to you. You weren't looking for them, you didn't mean to become friends, but the next thing you know, you're just kind of like, hey, you're my best friend in the whole world. And you don't even know when it happened or how it happened or really why it happened. But you're just kind of like, all right, I guess we're stuck together for the foreseeable future. And me and Chris became friends that way. In fact, I remember vividly, it was in second grade. And my friend Chris, he's very accident prone. I can't even tell you how many times he's fallen and broken his arm. He was the kid in second grade that was just like, how are you like, is that cast permanent? Are you just going to wear that for the rest of your life? Or, you know, is it like a 6-month plan? Like how long are you wearing that cast? He was that kid, right? He was in a cast for like the whole year. And so his last name and my last name are alphabetically like next to each other. So we happened to be sitting next to each other in second grade because I had one of those teachers, you know, those teachers that sit you in alphabetical order and you don't get to sit with your friends. And so we weren't really friends, but we got sat next to each other because of alphabetical order of last name. Chris has a broken arm. He can't really do anything. And Chris, if he was here today, I think this is fair to say about him. He's very smart. He's an engineer. He can do math in his sleep. He was the kid that never studied for math and just made hundreds across the board. He was really annoying. We all hated him, but he was my friend, so I can say that. But Chris, horrible speller. Like to this day, I think he shortened his name from Christopher to Chris because it was just too long and he couldn't get it, right? Like he's not a great speller, okay? And in second grade, you guys remember second grade you have to take spelling tests. And so Chris had broken his right arm, is the arm that he wrote with. And so what the teacher would do is during the spelling test, she would send him out in the hall. She would give us the spelling test. We would all write our answers and turn them in. And then she would bring Chris back into the room and just give Chris the spelling test like 1v1, okay? Like if you can imagine the pressure of your teacher just sitting there when you're like, okay, now can you spell this word? Now can you spell this word? That's basically what she was doing for him, but he couldn't write. And so I was the person sitting next to him. She was like, Chris, you're gonna tell Heath how to spell the word. Heath's gonna write it down and that's gonna be your paper. And so Chris would start spelling a word, and I don't remember what the words were. This was a long time ago now, but she would be like, you know, spell cat. He'd be like, K-A, you know, clearly like way off and wrong. And I would be like, that's not right, you know, because I just took the test, so I knew what the answers were, so I would just write it the correct way, regardless of what he was saying. And that's how we became best friends. It was one year in all of school that Chris made good grades in spelling, and it was the year he had a broken arm and sat next to me. After that, just terrible. And all that to tell you to say is, you never know when your friends are going to come into your life. You never know how you're going to make great friends. But the thing that all of us want, the thing that all of us are asking ourselves, the thing that every single person, no matter if you're going into sixth grade, whether you're a high school impact leader, whether you're a small group leader, every single person in our lives knows we can't do life alone. And we need great people around us to make our lives better. So at some point in time, we've asked ourselves this question: how do I find great friends? Where do we find the Chris's in our life? Do we just need to walk around to every kid in a cast and be like, boom, I bet they're a terrible speller. That's my new best friend. I don't know that that's prescriptive or if that would work for everybody. It worked out pretty well for me, but I don't know if that would work out for you. So how do we find great friends? It seems pretty simple, but as many of you know, it can be quite complicated. In fact, many of you are about to enter into, I know this is like, you're not supposed to say this, but like summer's almost over, school's about to start. Okay, everybody roll their eyes, groan. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, right. Some of you are starting a new school this year, and you're asking yourself this question a lot right now. Hey, where am I gonna make friends? Who am I gonna sit with in the cafeteria? Like, whose locker am I gonna be next to? Who am I gonna walk to class with? How do I find great friends at my new school? Some of you are going back to a school that you've been to the last few years, but maybe the people that you've surrounded yourself with have led you to make some choices that weren't as good, or you've made some decisions that you regret. And you're walking into a fresh start in a fresh school year, and you're asking, how do I find not just great friends, but maybe better friends than I've had over the last few years? Friends that help me make better decisions and guide me down a better path. Maybe you're a high school impact leader, and you're feeling the same crunch. You're like, wow, I need to, surround myself with more of the people I just spent last week in Daytona. Maybe you're an adult small group leader, and you're like, hey, I need to find some great friends. Maybe I should join a small group in addition to leading a small group this August. That was free right there, But hey, here's the thing. All of us need to surround ourselves with people that help us be better people. We need all to be surrounded by great friends. And so to illustrate this morning, I kind of wanted to show you like a visual example. So where is Knox Ridley? Knox, come here, Knox. Y'all give it up for Knox. Knox is one of our high school leaders here in Transit, and he was voluntold that he was going to help me today, so he doesn't really know what he's getting into. So Knox, thanks in advance for being a part of the illustration today. So Knox, we're trying to figure out how we make great friends, and come on over, I'm not gonna bite, not very hard. So here's the thing, Knox, today we're trying to figure out how we make great friends, but it's not as easy as it looks. Have you been there? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Knox knows what I'm talking about. To make great friends in life, it's not super easy a lot of times. In fact, sometimes the people that we think in our lives are great friends, the people that we think in our lives that we can trust, we only come to find out later that maybe they're not as trustworthy as we thought they were. And to illustrate that this morning, Knox, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have you have a seat right here in this chair. Go ahead and sit down. Sorry, Knox, I'm sorry. Go ahead and sit down. I won't do it. Okay, there you go, yeah. That wasn't very nice, was it, Knox? I think I might have just broken your trust there. See, every great friendship is built on this foundation of trust. That the person across from you, and Knox, we're gonna become friends by the end of this, the person across from you is going to do something that you can expect, that's gonna have your best interest in mind. They're not gonna pull the chair out from underneath you, so to speak. Are you okay? Did I hurt you there? Okay, great, okay, he's good. Phew, dodged a bullet there. Earlier I asked if I could do this, and you're like, oh, you're my boss, so if we get in trouble, it's on you. So, Knox, I'm glad you're okay. But here's the thing. A lot of times in life, maybe it's not a literal chair. Maybe you've had someone do that to you in school, and it's embarrassing. Sorry if I just embarrassed you, Knox. But a lot of times it feels like our friends are doing that to us. It feels like they've done that to us when we share a secret with them, and the next thing you know, it gets spread all around the school. It feels like that when you feel like you have a great friend or a best friend, only they don't ever text you back, or they're hanging out with a different group of people, and you feel like you're being left out. It feels like they've pulled the chair out from underneath you when you kind of get pushed out of the friend group or you get left out of plans. A lot of times in life, the way we're treated can feel like someone's pulled the chair out from underneath us. And when it comes to making great friends, there's one rule of thumb of being a great friend and making great friends and finding great friends that supersedes your generation, my generation, generation upon generation for thousands of years. There's one rule about being great friends and about keeping and maintaining that level of trust that I want to share with you guys here this morning. We get it from Jesus. Jesus gave us this one rule. It's called the golden rule, and it's found in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12, and many of you know this, but Jesus said, so in everything you do, do to others what you would have them do to you. Jesus says, hey, if someone is proverbially pulling the chair out from underneath you, hey, don't treat people that way. If you know how it feels to be left out of something, be the kind of person that includes others. If you know how it feels to have a secret of yours shared around school, be the kind of person that's trustworthy to keep a secret. And it's not just in our friendships, it's in every relationship, in every aspect of life. In fact, Jesus says, in everything, to do to others what you would want them to do to you. And I know this is elementary, and maybe for many of you, this is a refresher. You've heard this before. But the older you get, the more you realize this becomes more and more difficult to actually live out. That for us to actually do to others what you would have them do for you is not as simple as it sounds. And so I kind of hurt Knox a little bit here and maybe embarrass him. Knox, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make it even. I'm going to try to make it right to him because I want to do for Knox what I would want him to do for me here. So Knox, I didn't tell you that I was going to pull the chair out from underneath you. You didn't know that was going to happen, right? You didn't know? No. Did you have an idea when I got behind you? Okay, yeah. Knox is smart. That's why we picked him. All right, here's the thing. It would only be fair for me to give Knox a chance to get a little payback. Because if you've ever been in one of those situations, you know that's what's on our minds, right? If someone hurts you, if someone shares secrets about you, if someone says something about you that isn't true, if someone hurts your feelings or pulls the chair out from underneath you, all of us default to payback mode. We ignore Jesus' advice here. We ignore the words of Jesus with, hey, do for others what you would have them do for you. You're like, no, I'm going to hurt them like they hurt me. And so this morning, I want to give Knox a little bit of an opportunity here. Knox, you can go ahead and stand on up and stand behind the chair. I'm not going to look at Knox. I'm going to sit down. And Knox has one of two choices here. He can stand behind me and he can live out the golden rule and do for me what he wished I would have done for him. Or Knox is going to be the funniest kid in class all day today, and he's going to pull this chair out from under me, and I'm going to fall down, and we'll see if I get back up, okay? So here's the thing. One of those two things is going to happen, and I haven't coached Knox. I didn't tell him what he was going to do. He's finding out about this right now with you guys. But it's an opportunity for us to see what Knox is going to do. So Knox, no pressure, but you're the message today, okay? Here we go. Oh. Knox, give it up for Knox, everybody. Hey, Knox, thank you for being a great illustration. Y'all give it up for Knox. Knox, full disclosure, I almost missed the seat and I thought you had pulled it underneath me and I was going to be so disappointed. Hey, in order for us to be the kind of person that does for others what we want them to do for us, we have to have this skill. And it's a skill, it's a trait, but it's actually a skill. It's something that you can actually grow in. You know, there's lots of skills that you learn in school. There's lots of skills that you learn on the ball field. There's lots of skills that you learn in life. And maybe one of the most important skills that I think you can learn in life is this one. It's empathy. Empathy is listening with the intent to understand. It's putting yourself in the other person's shoes. It's practicing the golden rule. It's being present with someone, doing for them what you want them to do for you, even if that's not what they have done to you. And so this morning, Jesus' encouragement for all of us in this room is that in everything you do, in your relationships at school, in your relationships at home, in your relationships, in your sports teams, in your ball fields, in your relationships with your friends in your neighborhood, in everything you do, in everyone that you know, and in every walk of life, the encouragement is to have empathy, to put yourself in the other person's shoes, to listen to what they're sharing with you, to imagine what it would be like to be them, and to do everything in your power to treat them and do for them what you would want them to do and how you would want them to treat you. Because this is why this is so important. Empathy, trust, these words that we're talking about this morning, they're not just good ideas. They're not just fun things to share. It's not just things that we feel like we need to talk about in transit. They're baselines. They're foundations in being great friends. And what we know to be true is that great friendships require great friends. So if you want to find great friendships in your life, it starts by being a great friend yourself, by being the kind of person that lives out the golden rule, treating people the way you would want to be treated, not necessarily how you have been treated. It starts by being a listener and having empathy and paying attention to what the person on the other side of you wants and needs in the relationship. Because all great friendships require great friends. Your challenge this morning, Transit, is to be one of those great friends. So here's two things I want to land on that I want you to talk about as you go to group here in just a minute. Number one, question to ask yourself is this: what would a great friend do? If you're struggling to figure out, hey, how do I treat somebody well? How do I show empathy? How do I lead out with trust? Imagine what a great friend would do in that situation and do that thing. Or maybe a little bit easier way to say it is the second one. The second question to ask yourself: what would I want a friend to do for me in this situation? If you can answer these two questions in a way that honors somebody else across from you, you will not only be a great friend, but you will find yourselves in great friendships. And that's our prayer for you this morning in Transit. Before you go to group, if you guys will, bow your heads and pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for Knox not pulling the chair out from underneath me. That would have hurt. God, thank you for all the people in this room who are great friends. who are building great friendships. They are practicing empathy. They are building trust. And God, for all of us in this room, I pray that you would help us to grow in that skill set this week, this month, this school year, and that, Lord, that great friendships would form starting right here in Transit first and foremost, that would spread into our schools, into our communities, and throughout every aspect of life. God, thank you for these students. Thank you for their amazing leaders. I pray that they have a wonderful week this week. And everybody said, in Jesus' name, amen.